Welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Community Report 88 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This was published on the 4th of December 2023, and I think this report reflects the nature of what the devs are doing at the moment, which is tidying up the game in general, which I would guess, and I've got no insider knowledge guys, that this is very much part of a process of preparing the game for the full release. Now, I'll be very surprised if that full release hits during the holiday period. So we're probably looking at a full release in probably I'll be very general, the first quarter of next year. So this report consists of two parts. The first section relates to retexturing of churches, and the second section relates to gravel production, which is probably, from a gameplay perspective, probably a slightly more interesting change. And anyway, so let's just get straight in. It says, "Greetings, dear comrades of the Soviet Republic and fans of our games around the world. As we step into December and watch the first snowfall blanket of the world, we're reminded of the slower pace and cozy elements of the season brings. In our game, like in real life, the snow-covered roads prevent unique winter challenges and beauty. The report brings exciting news that the cathedral rework we mentioned earlier is now complete. We've added new models to the game, giving towns a fresh, majestic look." So just take a quick look at these pictures. I must admit, that does make these cathedrals look a lot more dynamic, especially the detail on the windows there. It's quite impressive, actually. I've got a feeling this is a large cathedral. So I've just moved down. It says all models will automatically update with the release of our next patch. So it looks very much like this will come in as part of a patch rather than the full release. So that could be interesting. This looks very much like a small cathedral. You can see it's actually got a slightly Gothic type look, but it's got no flying buttresses. And then, oh, this one's different. Quite like that. I'd say that this could be a medium cathedral, but it's actually got a tower on the side. I quite like this. Then moving down to the next section, it says, "We're also thrilled to introduce new variations for gravel processing and gravel quarries. Our previous single version sometimes felt like overkill, so we've added a smaller gravel processing option for more flexibilities." Yes. I must admit, that was one of the reasons why I tended to leave gravel or production to slightly later in the after starting. Either that or I would resort to mods. So it's really nice to see that we've got a smaller gravel processing area. In fact, looking at the picture, this looks quite cool actually. It looks like a real gravel processing area here because we got like a drop-off skip here going into some kind of processing mill here, going out to multiple dumps. In fact, I'll be a bit inclined to build this now at the start of the game, just so that we can take a look at the actual animations and the way this works. It looks really great actually. Whoever created this did a really incredible job actually. So moving down to the next bit, it says, "But that's not all. We've given a facelift to the large gravel processing model. It now has a new texture to better match the other in-game buildings, and by popular demand, a conveyor belt input. The smaller version will have only conveyor output, utilizing dump trucks for input." So that means that the small one will be similar to the current standard gravel processing with trucks delivering. I'm assuming that there will be a conveyor going out of the small one. If there's not, it could be a bit of a problem. And then the large one is very much, if we look at the picture, I can't see an output conveyor from here. We got oh, it could be coming. Yeah, I think the actual conveyor is behind the building here. Now, I'll be completely upfront, guys. I very rarely ever use the actual vanilla gravel processing. I use a mod that already has a conveyor. So in some ways, this is kind of catching up with the mod that's been in the game for some time. But if it's available as part of the base game, I probably will start using this. The big question is how many outputs it's got. But we won't worry about that too much at the moment. So moving down, it says, "A big addition is the larger gravel quarry variant inspired by a bauxite mine. This facility allows more excavators, boosting output and featuring a conveyor connection. This means no more need for dumpers at the site. And of course, the old gravel quarry look was also updated." So this is the new quarry, and it does look very much like the bauxite mining, where you've got this looks like this can have up to 3 excavators, and of course if you've got 3 excavators you've got to have a conveyor out. Now this could be quite useful. I wouldn't say in the early game, but it could be quite useful if you were building a major gravel processing center in the mid to late game. You could probably get the entire output of one of these could feed into a single gravel quarry processing setup. So yeah, I'm liking this actually. I mean, they've got 2 connected. I think that might be, unless of course you're consuming a lot of gravel. I think what this does is it opens up the possibility of creating regional gravel processing centers, which can then deliver gravel by using train. Yeah, so I quite like that. And what we got here is the small one. So it looks, yeah, so I'm not, looks like they've actually modified the building a little bit with the stand for the smaller quarries. I must admit, this setup looks quite interesting. I wouldn't personally use mud roads, but that's beside the point. Some nice little trucks in there as well. So moving down to the final sections, it says, for a touch of nostalgia, we've updated the loading screens. Now, instead of a plain screen, you'll be greeted with historic photos during loading. Currently, these are 35 photos from a single author, but we plan to expand this collection with more images from various photographers. So what we've got here is like a collection of images. We'll just take a quick look. This looks like a very old rail station layout there. It says 1984. Okay, could be. I mean, it's a picture of a station in Slovakia. What we got here. This one is obviously in 1999. I quite like that layout. It looks I like the road junction. I know it's not the game. It's just I don't know. I think in some ways pictures like this will be very useful for people who want to create the real Soviet look to a town, or the Soviet style of type building. Is quite limited. In fact, I quite like the idea you've got the Soviet blocks there, and then obviously what you've got in the top right there, a little bit more of a kind of rural historic town there. And then down in the bottom here, 1984. Again, you've got the contrast with the Soviet era kind of residential blocks with an historical building in the foreground here. Don't know what that actually is. But I actually quite like that actually. I think I've actually got a mod like that that's for town hall. So just move down to the outro. Says that's all that for this update. It looks like we'll have one more report for before the end of the year ends. So stay tuned for even more developments. Until next time, stay safe, enjoy life, and have fun and games. So that's it, guys. Short, sweet, and straight to the point. Obviously, from a gameplay perspective, the interest is around the gravel. Any opinions, feelings, feel free to chuck it in the video description. I must admit, I am liking this change. And I'm also liking the fact that the devs are taking time to go back and refresh some of the original models in the game, because I think that keeps the game up to date and also moves it more and more towards a more realistic framework. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.